Hey, thanks for being here today. And I really appreciate you guys being a part of this ministry because it is that important. Being a greeter, section leader, you guys have done a wonderful job, but now we need to be more intentional on connecting with guests, especially first-time guests. And that's why we're having this meeting this morning. To kind of go over a little bit, Daryl, come up here. Let's. Will you pass those out? Yeah. Let me have one.
You don't have this memorized?
I do. I just need one to make copies later on. When we, for the hospitality team, the folks in charge of that will be Kirk Jones and Chad Tyler. These guys will be your go-to. If you have any questions, you'll go get with them. If they need anything, they'll let me know. And a few things we want to know. We have some rules of an engagement. So you're on duty, let's say, or you're greeting that morning. A first-time guest comes walking in here, they're alone. That is an emergency. We want to greet them. Maybe somebody in your section, you can ask them to sit with them, you know. Introduce them to somebody. Friends can wait. What that means is a lot of times we'll be engaged in conversation. It's natural. We have a habit of talking to people we know, and we'll talk to them for an extended period of time. Before you know it, there's a guest that comes in. There's no welcome. They find a seat, and they're lost. I might be able to pick them out of the crowd later on, but chances are slim. So we want to make sure that our friends wait. They will understand that you have your thing you need to do, and if you need to cut the conversation short, hey, excuse me for a minute, I need to go talk to this person. This is a guest, or bring them with you. Introduce them to somebody. And then always introduce a newcomer to someone else, just like what we've been saying. We get somebody new coming in, have some greet in this section. If you happen to see another set of greeters sitting in that section, it'd be a great thing to introduce them to those folks. So we always have this welcoming, friendly environment that we are greeting people as they come in the door. What we don't want is somebody leaving here and saying, I was never welcomed. We want them welcome here. We talk about the 40,000. We talk about the pray for one. It all goes together. My ones come in here that I don't always get a chance to talk to. I've prayed for you guys, and not just you, but the body of Christ to greet them, to make them feel welcome. And if you guys have a one in here, I certainly want them to feel welcome too, okay? So Daryl's come up with this cool thing to remember. It's called approach, connect, and collect. Now you see, I did not even use the paper when I said that. It's that easy. So approach, connect, and collect. You approach the first-time guest, greet them. You introduce them to somebody in your section. If they're alone, try to get somebody to sit with them. The body here at New Hope are awesome when it comes to that. Sometimes they have a difficult time getting out of their normal spot, but they will sit with somebody, so ask them. Then we want to connect with them, and we do that by giving them, if it's a first-time guest, we have water bottles, and I think we're going to have stations set up in the back of the sanctuary, a couple stations where you can grab a water bottle and you can give it to them to connect with them. If they're a second or third-time guest, we're going to give them a gift certificate for a Starbucks card, okay? And that'll be for a coffee break. And what the coffee break is, as we introduce them or as we give them this card, we say, hey, if you want to meet with any of the ministers or any of the staff at New Hope, here's a card to Starbucks. You're more than welcome to they will meet with you to have coffee or whatever. They don't have to, but you just go ahead and give them the card. Okay. Let's see, where was that? And then you'll also give them a booklet. And that's one of these. You can take that and kind of pass it around. I think I got a stack of them out there on the desk. Now, these have not been laid out right, but Daryl will be going into a New Hope in 5. So when you give them this booklet, you're going to tell the guest, right after service, Daryl will be given the New Hope in 5. It's what we believe. It does not take very long at all. As a matter of fact, 5 minutes or less. This booklet will be laid out in an order that flows well with what Daryl has to say to these guys. So you're going to connect by either water bottle, gift card, and a booklet. Let them know about New Hope in 5. Now we get to the collect part. We want to get their information. We need to get their information. Whether we need it for cookie drops. I need it for my database, so we make sure they get a welcome letter, the cookies that we drop. What else do we give them? The Right Now Media, Text in Church, all the updates. So that information that we get from them or collect from them is very important. They won't always give it to you, but you can kind of stand there and kind of walk them through and help them get the digital Connect card. We're going to do that here in a minute. And then you ask them to fill out their paper card. You can take it with you. Give them the water bottle first. If they fill it out, great. If they just flat out refuse, that's okay too. But more than likely, they'll give you the information. I think that's about it. I want to take a minute to walk through the digital welcome cards. So if you guys would take out your smartphones, I think most of you in here do, and you can walk somebody through this. Now I have New Hope text saved to my phone, so I can just, one of the first numbers that comes up. So once you get New Hope text in there, if somebody is new, they will type welcome in there. We're not going to do that this morning. We're going to type in card. Have you guys done this before, everybody? I know if you have. So once you type in card, you'll get a notification from Text in Church. And then you should get a notification from your text messaging service. Once you get a text back, it'll say, welcome to New Hope. Follow this link to fill out your digital Connect card for today. Is everybody there yet? Okay. Click on that link. It'll take you to a website that looks like New Hope Christian Church Digital Connect Card. Hi there, can I get your name? If you've got all your features turned on, you can just hit first name, and then my autofill comes on. I click that and I'm done, and I go to the next one. Last name. Well, you got like autofill, so you don't have to type in your name. Yeah. You don't? Okay. If not, then you type in your name, first and last. And once you do that, it'll take you to another, says, thanks James M. Mike, what's your email? And then I click my autofill form, or you put in your email and hit next. Let me know when you're there. You there? Everybody there? Click next, and it'll say, great, what's your number? and that's when you'll type in your mobile number. Once that's done, it'll take you to, I would like for someone to contact me about, and there's several things that are listed. The very bottom one is I have no needs right now. You can click on that if you don't have anything else going on, and click finish. Then I'll get another text saying, thank you for filling out your card today. Check out the bulletin for upcoming events like the Super Bowl party and Night to Shine. This is so easy to use, and it's much better than our paper cards. I really like this feature we have. If they don't fill that out, if you can't walk them through it, now you can do all the key words are in our bulletins, like Night to Shine, the welcome for a first-time guest, card for a regular digital card, and there's another one, updates, to get updates from New Hope. Oh, thanks, guys. Appreciate that. See how easy that is? Do we have any questions so far?
I have a question.
Yes.
You want us to do this with the new guests? Like help them through this welcome thing?
The question was, do you want us to help the guest through this process with the digital? If they have a smartphone and they want to do it, yes.
So then my follow-up question is,
There's a follow-up question.
what a lot of them may be coming in like right when it started, when music's going, it's services starting, so what do you do?
So if we're in that situation, usually it doesn't take very long. If they come in late and it's dark, the music's going, what do we do then? So my response to that is, it doesn't take but a second to fill this card out. I see people talking all the time during the worship service, so that's not going to affect much. Daryl keeps right on plugging away. So if you can do that, if it's right in the midst of something, after service, before service ends, position yourself in the back so we can be prepared to catch those people on the way out. And just thank them for being here. Okay. Yes.
Okay, that's the first time I've used the digital command, and it just shows one name. Do they need to enter it every time for somebody, or like I just did it twice? This time I put David and Jamie on there. How do you need that to come through?
It can go just one name, because what I use it for is the Get a Call ministry. So as long as one family member is here and I can talk to them and make sure, everybody else is okay, then that's fine. Not the count. I use it for just that Get a Call ministry. I don't think I repeated the question. What else we got? Yes.
Okay, so the card issue, one per family, one per person. How are we going to do that when we're starting to get the Starbucks things out?
That will be one per family. I don't know what we've decided as far as the cost, how much the card's going to be, $5-10. If it's a repeat guest, they have not gotten a card before, you can hand them the card. And then just let them know, if you want to meet with any of the ministers, this is a perfect opportunity. They'd love to meet with you, or any of the staff for that fact. Okay, if they want to meet with a staff member, put that on their Connect card. We do need to tell them that. Yeah, and you'll probably talk about that in the New Hope in 5 as well, right? And Daryl's going to go through the New Hope in 5 Is there anything else I'm forgetting? I think that's it. Yeah. Appreciate it, guys. This is very important, intentional. Welcome our guests. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Mike. And by the way, too, he didn't show you these, but on the back of your badges that you wear, we're going to have this that's just the approach, connect, and collect, and it just kind of just as a reminder, so you have something on the back of your badge. Oh, what am I supposed to do? and you know, so yeah, great. Introduce yourself. Don't let them sit alone. It's an emergency. And then give them a booklet. And by the way, those booklets, and Mike indicated this a second ago, but they were misprinted, so they're not in the right order. So I'm having the company that printed them redo them. But so next week we'll have the booklets printed in the right order. I want to go ahead and give those to you back, guys, because it doesn't really matter the wrong order. What I'm going to be doing, and this is so that you have an idea of what you're telling them. You give them a booklet, and just invite them. Say, listen, at the end of our service, our pastor's going to he's going to talk about New Hope in 5. And what that simply is going to be is I'm asking, if you're a visitor here and like to meet me or like to know a little bit more about our church, give me 5 minutes before you leave. That's all I'm asking, is right at the end of the service, if you would just come right down here and have a seat, I'm going to take 5 minutes to tell you the 5 most important things about New Hope. And it's just going to be a chance for me to see a face when they're visitors and to say, introduce myself, I'm Daryl. I just want to tell you 5 things that are important. And the 5 things I'm going to give them, and first of all, I'm going to say what our mission is. We are here to make growing disciples of Jesus. That's our ultimate goal. And as a part of that, there are some things I want you to know as you get, and I'm treating you guys like you're the visitor sitting up here, but a couple of things I want you to know. If New Hope is a place you decide to make home, and we would love for you to be here, I just want you to know a couple of things. The first thing we're going to ask you to do, or try to encourage you to do, is get involved with one of our real life discipleship studies. And you'll see when you open the booklet, it's out of order right now, but the first page they'll see will say discipleship, and it'll talk about real life discipleship. And I'm going to say we are starting, it's a 12-week study that just really defines what discipleship is and helps you identify where you are in your journey, your spiritual journey, whether you're right at the very beginning of it or somewhere in the middle. That's what this Bible study does. And we encourage everyone that comes into our church to go through this study. We're starting new studies all the time. And once you decide to get involved here, we're gonna encourage you and help you get plugged into one of those studies. The second thing is that once you complete that study, we're going to encourage you to get involved in a Connect group, because that's where we get to know each other. That's where we learn from each other. That's where we help and encourage each other. And from there, we're going to encourage you to get involved in service and serving others and service projects that we offer all the time. And we're going to encourage you to get involved in ministry somewhere in the church, youth and children or missions. There's so many opportunities. And the rest of the booklet talks about some of those opportunities. And that's really it. And again, I'm Daryl. I'm glad you're here. If you have any questions, I'd love to talk to you. You should have gotten a Starbucks card and a $5 Starbucks card, and we'd love for you to use that. And if you would like to use that to sit down with one of our staff members, me or another one of our staff members, indicate that on your card. We'd love to have that opportunity. But thanks, guys, for being here. And that's it. New Hope in 5. I'm going to do it at the end of every service. And and so basically what we want you doing as section leaders is when a visitor comes in, whether they're first time or a repeat guest, is make sure they've got one of the booklets. If they are the first time they're here, like Mike said, give them a water bottle. The second time or beyond, give them a gift card. We only want to do that once. We don't want to give them gift cards every week. But one time after that, if you catch them and they're in your section, they've been before, give them a gift card, invite them to indicate that they'd like to have a coffee, ask them if they'd like to have a coffee break with one of the staff members. It's not connected to whether they get a card or not. Give it to them either way, but we want to offer that opportunity. Our goal, and the reason this has come about, is Mike and I sat and talked, is we see a lot of people coming into our church and visiting and coming back and engaging even to a certain degree, getting to be regular in their attendance. But there seems to be a line that a lot of people don't cross on their own without a lot of encouragement. Getting involved in real life discipleship, getting involved in a Connect group, getting involved in ministry. And that we call that assimilation. And that's a big piece of what we want to start helping being intentional about helping our visitors do that. That's what this is all about. And you guys as section leaders are critical to that happening. You're the key to that happening. And so that's why we're doing this, and that's why we need to be very intentional about what's happening in this room, and that's why the rules of engagement are there. Is to say, when you are a section leader on a Sunday morning standing in the back, your first priority is to make sure if a guest has come in that you've talked to them, and even if you've got, like Mike said, even if you've got friends, and then at the end of the service, and during that very last song we do, please get back in the position in the back of the room to greet any guest in your section, that you weren't able to connect with before the service because they came in at the last second, or just to say goodbye, we're glad you're here. But when you're a section leader, I really want there to be a sense of I'm on duty and what I'm doing is pretty important to what we're trying to accomplish. So that's kind of where we're at. Again, anybody have any questions for me or Mike? Yeah. Yes, me and Mike are gonna create a station on each side that's gonna have water bottles and booklets, so that if you have someone that comes in, and basically what this is we are not connecting, we're not asking people to fill out their Connect card and take it out to the Connect Center anymore. That's too much. That's not happening. And so instead of connecting the two, we want them to do a card, but it has nothing to do with them getting a bottle. If you got a first-time visitor in here, bring them a water bottle and welcome them, period. Okay? And if in the water bottle, like I said, we'll have a station back here, give them a booklet. Ask them to stay for New Hope in 5. If they've been here before, they've already got a water bottle, give them the Starbucks card, invite them for a coffee break. And again, if they haven't stayed for New Hope in 5, encourage them to do that. But everything you'll have should be right here in the room and easy for you to run and get when you have a visitor. Yeah, Jamie.
I don't get to do this very much because usually I'm on stage. So when you're saying water bottle, you're talking about the gift,
Yes.
not an actual bottle of it.
Correct. Okay. Yes, the sports bottle that we give them with the New Hope logo on it. Yeah. Yeah. If somebody would like to give Jamie a sport bottle so she'll know what we're talking about, that'd be great. So any other questions? Yes, Melissa. Yeah, and basically our thought and what she asks is how do we keep track of whether they're a first timer or a repeat visitor and stuff like that. We're kind of going, there's no foolproof way of handling this. We're kind of going on the assumption that most people sit in the same place week in and week out, so that if they're in your section, you're going to remember if they've been in your section before. If they haven't been, you can ask them, hey, is this your first time here? And if they say no, oh, well, great. Well, I'm glad to meet you today. I'm glad to meet you. Or they can say, yeah, this is our first time here. Great, you got it. But don't be afraid. It's not offensive to ask. If you've never met them before, that's okay. It's not offensive to ask them if it's their first time. Be bold enough to say, oh, is this your first time here today? And if they say, no, I've been here before, oh man, well, I've missed you before. I'm glad you're here today. It's nice to meet you. But yeah, be open about that. And at the same time, part of this, I guess part of the thinking right now, and this might change if we get to a place where our crowds are a little bigger, and hopefully this happens at some point, where it's harder for us to keep up with who's a first-time visitor. But right now, the volume of people we have in here, I don't think it would be too difficult for you to recognize over time, I've never seen them before, or I've seen them before, but I need to go introduce myself to them, that kind of, and you'll get a feel for that. But that's probably about the best way to handle that.
That's where it's nice to introduce them to another section leader too. So
Mm-hmm.
section leaders, they've got an idea who's in that section. If you guys sit up front, I don't see you guys turn around a whole lot. I do. I have a habit of standing up and looking.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, but yeah, definitely make sure. Yeah, that's the benefit of introducing them to other section leaders. So, good question. Yes. Correct. You're in charge, of the 4 sections. You are in charge of these 4 columns. Each one is whichever one you're responsible for. That's the one you're keeping an eye on. And Thursday night we have just the 2 center sections right now. If you're a section leader there, and so yeah. Anything else? What you guys are doing, like I said before, is important, and I want there to be a sense of it. Me and Chad and Kirk talked about this. when I enlisted them to kind of be, their role is to kind of, if there's something happening that they need to deal with, or come to Mike or whatever, they're kind of a go-between or can answer some questions. But the other thing I want, I'm putting on Chad and Kirk is it's, for me and Mike, we're so busy doing a million things on Sunday morning that we can't really help and make sure the details of what section leaders are doing is happening. And this is true. This isn't meant to be insulting by any means, but the tendency is over time to let things slip if we're not paying attention to them. And what I don't want happening is us to try to do this, and for a month or two us do it really well, but then it just falls back to what it was before because nobody's paying attention. And I want us to be very intentional about this. And Chad and Kirk, I've asked them to just kind of keep an eye on section leaders and make sure that they are following through with the things we're asking to do, and to give friendly reminders if maybe they see someone get missed or whatever, is to go up beside us. So don't get offended if Chad or Kirk comes up to you and says, hey, there's a visitor in your section, could you make sure you go? Don't take that offensively. We're trying to stay on top of it, okay? So that's one thing we need to do, and that's the role that they're going to help me with, because Mike and I can't stay on top of that week in and week out. So anything else? Yes, sir. Okay. Yeah, they spoil. Yeah, okay. Ron says, if you're a section leader, especially on Thursday night, after the service is over, if someone could make sure that the communion emblems get taken from the table and put back in the fridge in the back and covered again so that the juice doesn't spoil and the bread get all squishy. And that way we're able to conserve and reuse stuff. Because between Thursday and Sunday, that juice isn't going bad if it's refrigerated. But so yeah, so thank you. And Ron and Trudy do a great job of helping us with prep with that, and we appreciate it. Yeah, so good point. And that's the other, we didn't really talk any about that in service. Usually the only thing you're asked to do in service is to serve your section communion as a section leader. Every now and then I might have something at the beginning or end of a message that I want given out, and that kind of stuff. But your primary role is focused on connecting with people before and after the service. So I really want to give some emphasis to that. Okay. Well, again, anything else, Mike? Yeah. Yeah, appreciate what you do. And let's, I guess any encouragement I say is this isn't a terribly difficult, it's not like you have to prepare in advance for this, but it's so important. And the role you're stepping into really is going to have a lot to do with people deciding whether they want to come back here or not. It has a lot to do with it. Statistics, and you've probably heard me say it before, show that the vast majority of people that visit a church have decided whether they're coming back or not within the first 5 minutes. That's before they've heard a song or a sermon or anything else. They've already decided whether they're coming back or not, because they are looking for how things feel. If they feel welcomed, if they feel comfortable, if people have made an effort, and they know that within the first 5 minutes of walking in the door. So it's pretty dang important.
Oh, for the section leaders that aren't here, that normally you guys know, kind of help them out with this as well. They'll get all this information too, but it's nice to hear it from you guys how important this is.
All right. That's it. Thanks, guys.